And sets another day. Billions will kneel and pray. Anything to aid escape from the world so cold and gray.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Bones and Tobes.
Time warp again. This week was fast.
Yes, another fast week.
I wonder what these hiccups in time mean.
I don't know. Maybe time, like little time quakes.
Yeah.
Little.
Is it part of the 878 quakes at Yellowstone?
Probably.
Okay.
Could be. There could be a time portal underneath Yellowstone, and that's what's causing all this.
It makes sense.
But we're back for another episode of Bones and Tubs. This one's going to be a little bit different because, one, the main thing is something we never really dabbled in this before, but I think both of us enjoyed the show so much that we thought we'd give it a little bit of homage.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I know there for a fact there are in fact podcasts. We're friends with people who make a podcast that is exclusively about this show. So if we're going to spend one episode on it, I mean, we're not going to really do it justice probably, but at least we're going to talk about it because I thought it was amazing.
I have several questions. It was amazing, but I'll get into the questions later. And it has only to do with my poor book memory.
Okay. But if you're wondering, the TV show we're going to kind of give a recap of this season on is American Gods. But we have some other topics we're going to talk about today, too. That's not the only thing. But and I think we were going to wet our whistle with a few topics from our listeners. Of course, last week, I don't think we did one from St. Kathryn, but that's okay. We can do at least one, maybe even two, more later.
Peace be upon her, first of all.
Yeah, peace be upon her. And secondly, you know, I actually have, I mean, as anybody who listens to the show know, I have a personal, like, face-to-face basis with St. Kathryn. And, you know, we don't see eye to eye on everything, and that's okay. But we've had some pretty good discord before about certain subjects. But we've always come around the bend and found common ground between each other. But I just figured I'd throw that in there for the audience.
Thirdly, I'd like to fire some shots in her direction. Where's your podcast at?
Yeah, where's your podcast at?
Calling you out right now.
Yeah, we offered equipment and time and energy.
Yeah.
And we don't have anything in return yet.
We need to find two similar looking saint candles for us, and then she can light the Bones and Tubs candle.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like a plan.
Mine just radiates hatred.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like black, acrid smoke that stings the nostrils.
I don't like this candle. It smells like death.
But, no. So, we're going to start with a question from her. And this is, of course, St. Kathryn of College Corner, asking us, what do you feel is needed to spur an economic boom in modern society?
I'm already there.
Well, I was going to say, I got two words.
Okay.
I don't know if we're in the same spot. Space travel.
Oh, well, we aren't.
Yeah, okay, what's yours?
Legalize drugs.
Oh, well, yeah, that would work too. But I think here's the thing. Legalizing drugs, to me, would work for the time being.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately, if we have to, like, as good capitalists, we want the GDP to continue to rise. And unfortunately, there's only X amount of product to make the GDP rise in the world.
Right.
We can only conquer so much and take so many other people's resources before the GDP just levels off.
Yeah.
We just haven't gotten there yet. Now, the question is when it's going to happen. I don't know. But legalizing drugs would definitely help, you know, have good economic growth going on. I
always think of space travel as being great, you know, because it got the asteroid mining and all this other shit.
Yeah.
That my brain just continuously screams fake news, you know? Because every time we fly up there, before we even get to the Van Allen radiation belt, you just hear, you know?
Yeah.
And you look on your starboard side and guess what, bitch? Moon hornets.
Yeah, that's true. They've already got you.
Yeah, it's over.
But, I mean, here's the thing, like, and this is the saddest part about space travel and economics in space is that more than likely it's not even going to be humans going up there to do this shit. We already know that. See, that's the thing. They like sending robots because robots don't have families that can sue people.
Right.
So chances of you going into space to go mine some asteroids is probably false.
Should check out a game if you're ever free when you're taking a shit.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is you do in your free time. It's called Adventure Capitalist.
Adventure Capitalist.
Yeah, and you start by making all these businesses on Earth. Mm-hmm. You start with lemonade stands, newspaper, car wash, all that shit. Eventually, you move up to the moon.
Nice.
And then Mars.
Nice.
And you're making, like, septillions of dollars.
Yeah. Now, I mean, you do have, like, here's the thing. Like, in all reality, our adventures in space at this point, as far as I know, are only going to be, like, it's going to be just more or less experimental. Like, do you really think Elon Musk is planning on sending people to Mars so that they can, like, build shit? They're not building nothing. Robots are going to build the stuff, and he just wants to see what happens to humans when they live on a different planet for X amount of time.
Yeah, because he's not a human.
That, too.
I like that meme of him doing the zip line.
Yeah, that's a particular favorite of mine.
Yeah.
Do the people like this?
I would enjoy it as well, then. Fucking serious face.
But no, I mean, I definitely, legalized drugs would definitely create an economic boom, I think. Everything above the boards definitely would create a new economy.
Yeah.
And
just get rid of the sanctions.
Yeah.
I think if you completely legalized drugs and you allowed people to do whatever they wanted to do as sentient human beings, could you imagine the ramifications if every human got to smoke DMT?
Oh my God.
What would happen?
Mass ego death.
Yeah.
All wars would stop.
Flying pyramids. You know?
Yeah, right. Flying pyramids. Eating shit. But
yeah.
But no, so I would definitely say, like, I totally agree with you. Like, space travel is a far-flung theory when it comes to actually making money. More or less, at this point, it's just spending money into space.
Well, you're gonna need to have a lot of money to throw into the black hole of space before anything lands. So I think we should legalize drugs and then go into space. Because then we'll have a fucking fat wallet to throw.
Like, if we're all fucked up, like, on DMT and we're just all standing around collectively as a species, and then we're like, if you just look up at the sky, we're like, you know what? Fuck it.
Maybe the reason why we don't see other beings in space is because they realized after smoking DMT on their planet that
they should just astral project everywhere.
Outer space is not the answer. Inner space.
Yeah.
They become intronauts. Mm-hmm. Eventually evolve into a fucking energy being. A
multi-dimensional fucking energy being that doesn't require spaceships to travel.
When you open your third eye and look through a telescope, it completely shows that they've graffitied the universe with cocks. You know, it's like the cave painting of the space age.
But, well, I guess you want to do one from the Frisbee Thrower, TM.
Yeah, the Frisbee Thrower.
The Frisbee Thrower, TM.
It's neat because, you know, I hate sports.
Yeah.
But he asked a question in such a way that is one that I've asked myself already, and I was actually just thinking about it. We're on some psychic shit.
Yeah. Oh man, I almost clicked on that other thing you sent me last night involving that person that does that weird shit. Like, I was like, oh, this must be the question, and I'm like, oh, no, it's not.
No, I don't even know that dude's name, but he's funny as fuck. Do you know his name?
Who?
You're talking about the YouTube cat?
No, I'm talking about the dude who likes to buy expensive, useless shit.
Oh my God, yeah.
And gets himself involved in fake politics. And
Jesus
shit.
wept.
Yeah. No, I think
you know,
I honestly, audience, I mean, I don't want to get into details because there is a possibility this dude listens to the show, and we do work at the Factory Sadness with him. So it would get pretty fucking awkward if we started talking shit about him. He's like, one day I come in, and he's just like, you know,
I'm real close.
Yeah, he's like,
heard what you said about my fictional life that I live.
What the fuck,
bitch?
What the fuck?
Yeah.
But
you cast a level 4 spell on your ass.
Yeah, and then you're bound. You're bound, and you got blood coming out of your butt.
Just real quick before we move on to the Frisbee Thrower's question, mm-hmm. I heard that the LARPing, right?
Yeah.
These guys go out in the field, mm-hmm. you know, and they throw beanbags, like mages throw beanbags at each other mm-hmm. while yelling. I mean, I just didn't know that was a real thing. Yeah. I thought it was a joke.
Haven't you ever seen the lightning bolt?
I thought it was fake. I thought it was fake news.
Oh no, they do that shit.
Man,
that's legit.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a piece of advice for LARPers. take this shit to the next level. Then people won't fucking ridicule you anymore.
What is the next level?
The next level is get rid of the foam and wood swords and shit.
Fuck yeah.
And get some real... I mean, it doesn't have to be sharp. It could be blunted.
How many of them could actually lift a sword, though?
Yeah, I mean, good question, but...
I've only got a strong right arm, you know?
I mean,
jerking.
Take this shit to the next fucking level.
Yeah, quit being a bitch.
Like, I get it. I asked somebody about it, and I said, why don't you guys do that? And they're like, oh, the insurance. And I'm like, fuck it. If you're going to go in, you go in whole fucking hog on this shit.
You don't even tell anybody what you're doing. Just meet out in the woods and beat the dog shit out of each other.
Yeah, and here's the thing. The Russians are doing it already. Yeah. The Russians beat you to it.
The Russians are fucking solid.
They do, like, full-fledged medieval melees again. Where they fucking get in big groups with fucking real armor and real swords and beat the living shit out of each other.
Right. Get your fucking life together.
Like, if you guys did that... Because here's the thing, like, preparation for that would be a lot different.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to be fucking worried about... You'd be less concerned about sewing your costume than fucking getting super swole so you don't fucking die.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that simple.
Nerf the world, I guess.
Yeah. And then, like, you could take it a step further and say, like, well, with wizards and shit, what would they do? Because you take it to the next level. Well, with the wizards... I had an idea. I said, this is what you do. You take, you make like kind of like looks like a staff, but it actually has like taser prongs on the end of it.
Fuck yeah.
So if you could get to somebody, lightning bolt.
Got them, yeah.
And they're down.
I mean, fuck yeah.
Yeah, basically a cattle prod, more or less.
I'm down with it.
Or, you can't really use a flamethrower because that's kind of like cheating, but.
What about those wrist things that throw the paper wad? That'd still send your hairs.
Yeah, maybe put something a little bit more substantial than paper in there. Something like that'll last a little while. Like, you don't really want to catch people on fire, but...
You want to burn them.
Roman candles.
Okay.
There we go.
Right, the Chinese are on top of the shit.
Yep.
And then for ice, you could have like the wart remover shit.
Yeah. Right in their eye.
Fuck my asshole! Yeah.
But yeah, suggestion for you guys, and I would never ever like... I mean, I don't want to like openly make fun of them, but when the people start talking about it, I'm just like...
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool, man.
No, you go out there with a real blunt weapon, and then you'll have my respect.
Yeah, you go out there with a fucking Morning Star and just, like, clobber somebody in the chest with it.
Right. How much you think... For anybody that's not in the know, I mean, I know people hate inside stuff, but we can only go so far.
Yeah.
This dude bought a tent of ridiculous size in a bidding process from his kingdom.
Yeah.
I got this from Elmo last night.
Yeah.
And I just can't believe it.
No, it's hard to believe, isn't it?
Nah, kids need diapers. Kids need food. What are you doing with your life?
Yeah, getting medieval tents and shit.
That's fine. Let's go on to the Frisbee Thrower.
Okay, yeah, Frisbee Thrower. All right, I'll let you say this one.
New topic, youth sports. Is it still necessary to put children in sports early to teach them life lessons and get them involved in sports? Or has the change of everyone is a winner, everyone gets a trophy award, ruined that forever? ? Being an athlete and playing in every sport that was offered, I look back and can honestly say that being in sports early may not have given me any advantages, but it did give... I can't read.
The love of sports in it at an early age.
Yeah. Plus, it's okay for a father to push a child to play sports even if they might not love it like I did.
Okay, here's the thing. Okay, and I hear people, and I'm going to harp on the right for a minute here about the stupid participation trophy shit, yeah. Okay? But here's the thing, and I played sports all the way through school. And this is the one thing I'm going to say. First of all, the participation trophies pretty much end after like little league, little league. Like by the time you get to middle school and shit, they ain't passing that shit out anymore.
Yeah.
Like I never saw and that's why I guess maybe I'm not thinking about it hard enough, but I never saw a problem with the participation trophies. Like here's the thing. You get the difference between a participation trophy and a fucking first place trophy is staggering.
Yeah.
There is still that drive in you that sees that, okay, I got this little thing like with some marble and a little tiny baseball on it that says, hey, you played.
Yeah, thanks for showing up, bitch.
I think they think kids are really, really stupid and don't realize that they basically just got something dumb. Like, even kids don't like participation trophies. But somebody out there was like, everybody should get one.
I don't know. I think that shit goes into the foundation, man. You get these. I mean, look at society. You know, I'm not going to blame it all on participation trophies, but I think it does have to do with the mentality.
Oh, see, that's the thing, though. I blame what's wrong with society less on participation trophies and look at the heart of the issue, where we basically have let a fucking generation of Bolsheviks educate our children.
Yeah.
Okay. I blame socialism before I blame participate. Socialism. First of all, participation trophies are merely a symptom of the disease.
Right.
That is indoctrination of socialism in our society.
Right.
So I'm not really it doesn't register for me as much as you're sending your kid to school and then, they're being fucking injected with goddamn cultural Marxism and fucking indoctrinated into that way of thinking.
Yeah.
I thought that way mildly for a bit, but then I kind of got away from it, and the spirit of competition burned too bright in me for me not to realize that fuck communism and fuck socialism.
You had that dream when you became a man of Thomas Jefferson coming at you through a fire, and he gave you a wallet.
I think it was between his I remember it was in high school. That's when it happened for me because I read a lot of his letters, and then I got into Thomas Paine, and I was like, the rights of man.
Yeah. Fire of liberty.
But yeah, so
I think that you should let your kids play whatever they enjoy playing.
Let's see, that's the thing. Now,
if you want to teach them about later in life lessons, though, slip them into some boxing or jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Let them get a weekly ass whipping.
That's the thing. I think your kid, every kid should be at least in some sort of organized activity, at least for a bit. It helps. I mean, at the end of the day, participation trophies aside, it helps kids understand that not all parents, it's more than just parents that are your authority figures, and it's not just your parents you have to listen to sometimes. Basically, a coach is like a kid's first boss. It's not mom and dad.
Right.
It's some other grown up that's going to be a dick to you.
Yeah.
And coaches should definitively be dicks.
Right. They should be.
I mean, dicks, but just like a parent, they could be nice to him too, but not completely nice to him. They don't want to be soft. I
just know, in my personal experience, I never gained anything from sports. I never really enjoyed it, never really enjoyed watching it. But when I got into high school and I started the whole jiu-jitsu thing, and I realized that, an ass kicking it shows you're not made of glass.
Yeah.
And it lets you kind of appreciate the fact that, pain and what have you.
Yeah.
But then when you start getting better, it's confidence building. And then when you're all about the same level of everything, it's like a human chess match, and anybody could win at any time. Mm-hmm. It's pretty neat.
Oh my God, I just saw this meme that got sent to us by the Polish Nightmare.
Oh, the one I posted?
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't send it. I just took it from him.
Okay.
But he definitely won the day. 7:50 in the morning, Polish Nightmare, and you, for, the next 24 hours, you've won.
Yeah. But, I mean, sports isn't for every kid. I
Right.
get that. But like you said, jiu-jitsu or mixed martial arts, anything like that, I think at least young person needs to have their ass whooped at least once in their life.
Yeah.
They need to get their fucking bell rung. That's all there is to it. If that's the one time you do it then.
Right.
Because you got to kind of figure out that, and I think, I know where you're going with this one, because it's the Johari window where you have the mystery section. You don't know what you're going to do in certain situations.
Right.
When someone's got you in a headlock, what the fuck are you, and there's no escape. What's going through your goddamn mind at that point?
Yeah. Is it an ankle sweep, or is it a freak out until you pass out scenario?
Yeah, exactly. And for most people, it's a freak out until you pass out thing. You're not going to be able to fucking get out of that shit.
Ultimately, the Frisbee Thrower, it boils down to you. You're basically you're the dictator.
Yeah.
When
it comes to your kids, you definitively decide what's good for them and what's bad for them. And
right.
And that's the thing, you have to have a clear conscience about how you're doing things.
Got to use that spiritual compass that we've all been born with.
Yeah. If something doesn't feel right to you, don't do it.
Right.
I mean, it's just that simple. I don't know how else to explain it.
America.
Yeah, America. But, I think, like I said, it's not for everybody, but I think everybody needs to try some stuff. If they don't like it, they don't like it.
That's just life. If you don't try enough things, you'll never find your passion.
But yeah. So yeah, thank you for the question, Frisbee Thrower. But I think we're going to move on to
the meat
of this delicious podcast that you guys are listening to. We're going to give a recap of season 1 of American Gods.
Spoiler alert, bitch.
Yeah, it's going to be spoiled all the fucking back. Now, the reason we're doing this, I think, needs a little bit of backstory here. Okay. Me and Bones here, we read the book. It's based the show American Gods just came out a couple months ago and it just ended its first season last week. It's based off a book by an author named Neil Gaiman.
Yeah.
Neil Gaiman's the shit. There's no way around it. The book was first given to me by St. Kathryn of College Corner, actually.
Ooh.
And she said, you might like this. So I read it, and I loved it. And then I passed it on to everybody else and said, hey, you should read this. This is really good.
Yeah.
But quick recap on the book. And this is when I've been trying to get people to watch the show. I'll be like, hey,
check it out.
You should check out American Gods. And they're like, well, what's it about? And then it's hard to explain the show or the book or the show for that matter, because there's so much going on, but I try to break it down to this. Imagine that the collective consciousness of human beings was able to manifest actual living, breathing deities.
Right.
That's the premise, more
Just
or less.
the belief in itself creates the gods.
Things. Yeah, creates the gods.
Heavy.
And that belief drives their abilities and powers. Like, when people stop believing him, they diminish, both in, like, power and, what's the word I'm looking for? Fertility?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, they get weak and old.
Yeah.
But then, like,
start getting up 12 times a night to piss.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of shit.
Yeah.
So, like, and the main premise of the show is that you have, like, the old gods that we used to worship, that we don't really worship anymore. And then you have the new gods. The gods that we don't even speak about.
Yeah.
Because we don't realize, like, but here's the thing, like, they kind of explained it in the show really well. They're like, because I think someone even asked media, like, how can you exist? People don't worship media. And they're like, no. But they put their time into me.
Yeah. Well, the attention itself is intention.
Exactly. So, like, it's about like, because you're literally, when you put time into something, you're giving your life to something, right? Like, in that theory, technically, Bones and Tubbs, there's at least somewhere in existence, in some sort of dimension, there is, like, a partially fucking formed, like, creature, evil fucking baby, like Voldemort in the end of the Harry Potter series, somewhere in the ether that exists, because we've put our fucking mental energy and time into this, and the people who listen to it have done the same thing.
Did we psychically discover moon hornets, or did we create them?
I think we linked
Right.
on that shit.
Right, yeah.
But I mean, somewhere in the ether, there's some sort of little Bones and Tubbs baby.
Yeah.
That's like half formed and fucking hideous.
Kill yourself. That's
And
what
then-
its like first words were.
Yeah, one day down the road, 9/11's an inside job.
Yeah.
But,
That's right.
but one day, what's going to happen is we're going to be in here doing the show, and like, this is down the road a bit. The fucking door is just going to blast right off of its hinges, and some big fucking shit kicker comes in, fucking stomping around like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator, and just fucking throws the table and decides that he's the fucking podcaster now.
Right.
Not us.
Nope. I don't remember the exact saying about American Gods that came from the show, but they said something along the lines of the old altar used to be drenched with blood and offered with meat. And now the new altar is this glass screen that you hold in front of you.
Exactly.
It's pretty fucking deep.
Yeah. Oh, and that's the thing about the show. Like, it really starts, then it makes to really make you think about, like, holy shit, how much fucking time have I put into fucking watching
anything,
TV,
right,
and all that shit. And it's like, then it makes you feel like shit, because you're like, oh man, I don't feel good about this. Like,
I don't like it.
But
I'm gonna go for a walk in nature.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. Time in itself is kind of a blood sacrifice.
Oh, for sure. It's the only currency you never get more of.
Because there are people who literally, from fucking toddlerhood to death, spend probably collectively a quarter of their life, if not more, sitting in front of a TV.
For sure.
And, you know, the idea is that before all this stuff, people spend a quarter of their time praying or sacrificing things to gods.
Well, I mean, I spent just in watching all the episodes for this show. I had 2 screens. You know, I was throwing down on some old school RuneScape. While watching American Gods on my cell phone. But good God,
they give you I guess we should give a synopsis of the show. Is that what people usually do when they talk about a show on their podcast?
I would say so.
Okay, so premise starts out. You have a man named Shadow Moon. He's a Khan. And this is actually one time in the history from book to writing that they didn't change anybody's race. Shadow was always black. Like, he's a black man.
Yeah.
But it looks like he could be mixed.
For sure.
Like, he looks like he's of mixed heritage.
Right.
Right. And, well, I don't want to get into that in the podcast because that wasn't even on the show.
Right. We can't go down that road.
So, but let's just put it this way. You find out later more about Shadow's heritage, more or less. But anyway, so Shadow Moon's in prison. He's supposed to be getting out soon. He feels like something's wrong, and he calls his wife and asks her, and she says everything's fine. Well, that next morning, he gets a call, and he's getting released a few days early because he has to make it to his wife's funeral.
She did.
Yeah, she died in a car wreck.
Yeah.
And so he leaves the prison, and he's at the airport, and he meets a mysterious man with one real eye and one glass eye.
Mm.
And they begin conversation because he watches the old man con the person running the ticket counter into a first class ticket instead of a coach ticket.
Yeah.
And they get on the plane together and they start talking and find out that he doesn't have a name yet.
Nope.
He talks to him and he's talking about basically the fact that Shadows was a con in his former life before he was a con man before he went to prison. And God damn it, I did it again.
Can't say it.
And I know I can't say it yet.
Not yet.
And then, old dudes talk about how he's been a con man for a long time and da-da-da-da. And, and then, okay, now I can do it. And Shadow asks, what's your name?
What day is it?
He's like, what day is it? He asks. Shadow said, it's Wednesday. And he's just like, oh, yes, this is my day.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Mr. Wednesday. And then he starts talking about offering him a job, working for him. Mr. Wednesday, that is, to Shadow. And at first Shadow's like, I'm good.
No.
I've
got a job waiting on me.
So they get in the plane, and I think they got into inclement weather, did they not?
Yeah.
And they had to land the plane far from home still. So they get off the plane, and Wednesday offers to take him the rest of the way, right? So they're on their way to Shadow's hometown to go to his wife's funeral, and he finds out on the way that his wife actually died with his best friend's cock in her mouth.
Oh, got him.
That she was blowing Shadow's best friend on their way to wherever. And they got in a car wreck, and she bit his dick off.
Yeah.
Hard reality.
Heavy reality.
So they stop at this bar, and they're chit-chatting, and all of a sudden this begingered fellow comes up and starts talking to them, and he starts doing coin tricks.
Yeah.
And then he offers to fight Shadow. And they beat the shit out of each other. And then I guess they get into a drunken state, and the next morning Shadow wakes up, and he has this lucky coin that this mysterious begingered fellow named Mad Sweeney had given him.
He's like intrigued by the fact that while Shadow does coin tricks in the traditional magician way, this ginger fellow is able to just pull the coins out of the air. Yeah. Literally. Like a lot of them.
And that's the only way he explains it. He's like, how are you doing that? I just pulled them out of the air.
You just take them. Take them out of the horde. Mm-hmm. How many you got? How many's in a horde?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they head towards the town, and they have his wife's funeral, and his best friend's widow tries to fuck him.
On the grave.
Yeah, on the grave.
Yeah.
Because she's pretty salty about the whole situation. But he's like, nah, I'm good. And as he's leaving, he flicks that gold coin that he got from Mad Sweeney onto the grave plot of Laura.
Yeah. Deuce's ex-wife, bitch.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm over this. And he leaves. And unbeknownst to him, the coin sinks into the ground. Next chapter.
Chapter 2.
But yeah, so he goes back to the hotel and sleeps on it, and, Mr. Wednesday tells him, hey, you need to do what you gotta do, and then we're gonna leave this shithole.
How about that, dick pic?
Oh, yeah. He looks at his ex-wife's phone.
Scrubbing the house down, he goes through the coroner's box of things at the very last, after he packs everything up and hasn't moved to wherever the fuck, and he, is going through her phone, because she didn't have it locked, of course, and it's just a giant fucking dick pic.
Yeah.
And he looks up at the old picture of them together on the dresser, and it's just a giant dick pic.
Yeah.
So that's all I can think about.
And I have to say, and St. Kathryn brought this up to me because I was talking to her about it. I was like, there is an excessive amount of penis in this show.
A whole lot of it, yeah.
A lot of dick. But Kate's like, St. Kathryn, that is.
Yeah.
She was like, how are you upset by this? She's like, you've watched Game of Thrones for years, and all it is titties all the time.
Well, you don't like penis. Same way you like milk bags.
She's like, so what do you, like, you're going to scoff at one form of nudity, and I was like, oh, you got me.
No, I'm going to scoff all day long.
I was like, I mean, but to an extent, she's kind of right.
I mean,
like,
I get it, yeah, but
yeah.
I'm just saying perspective-based.
But I think we kind of smoothed over through those episodes some of the other side stuff that was going on.
Probably the, you know...
Like, you have Billiquist, who
hopefully we have enough to just interest them into checking it out.
Yeah, I mean, Billiquist, she's an old goddess of love, Queen of Sheba, but known as by others, who she finds men on this, like, kind of, like Tinder, I guess.
Yeah, dating app.
Yeah, it's like a dating app, and she gets with them, and then she lets them have sex with her. But then she, like, basically magically swallows them into her vagina.
And they want nothing more.
Yeah.
They did a really good job with that.
Yes, they did.
Now, here's the thing. One of my first questions, because of the book memory in the show, did they change it to where she has a bigger part in the show? Because I feel like I only read, like, a little bit about her in the book.
No, I feel like in the book she was going to have a bigger part, but she got cut short. Quick.
Yeah, I just remember her being in like a random chapter.
Yeah, because Technical Boy dispensed her in the book.
It's been a while since I've read it.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I think they're gearing up for her to have a bigger role, which is fine with me because she's an interesting character to follow.
That whole where it shows them like somehow it just goes into like the universe of her vagina, and it just sort of shows these dudes floating around in there, and you know.
I love Tentacle Boy. Doesn't he call it the Vagina Nebula?
Yeah, the Vagina Nebula.
He's like, I don't want to feed your soul through eternity in the Vagina Nebula.
Yeah.
But,
they did a good job with character selection, I feel like we already talked about Shadow.
Yeah.
The one thing, too, that I feel like they might have changed, or maybe it was just my inner fucking voice, crafting things to my own nature, but I feel like Laura was kind of a cunt.
Yeah.
A bigger cunt in the show.
Yeah, I mean, she was. She was
like the entirety of the time.
But maybe it's because we're seeing more of her. Because in the book, you don't see as much of Laura as you do in the show. Because they did basically I would almost say 2 episodes that are collectively about her.
Yeah, it just shows her the kind of like a dead. I mean, emotionally dead participant.
Yeah.
Shadow's like in love, and she's just kind of like laying there, you know.
Yeah.
Getting pounded.
But okay, so, and then there was one other thing I want to talk about, and then we'll get back to the original story, or like the main story, and that's the Jinn.
Oh yeah, man.
Okay, let me tell you, you have to. Okay, I'm telling you, we're spoiling everything for you. But here's the thing. You're not going to know the end of the book by the end of today. We're not going to tell you how it ends because the series did not end where the book ended. The series ended I would say only about a third of the way through.
They did a great job.
Yeah.
Not time crunching it.
Of spreading it out.
Yeah.
Nice and evenly.
Shots fired at Stephen King. This is what he should have done with the Dark Tower.
Yeah. Stephen King, you disappoint us.
You are disgusting.
But, in the original story, there's this scene where this Middle Eastern man gets inside of a cab, and the cab driver's Middle Eastern, wearing sunglasses at night, and through conversation finds out that the cab driver is in fact a Jinn.
Yeah.
And then the man proceeds to fellate the Jinn.
Invites him back to his hotel room.
Yeah.
And then the next scene is just the Jinn coming out all, Middle Eastern ripped up.
Yeah.
And presents himself. Mm-hmm. Drops the towel as it was, and then I've never seen. I'm not gonna act like I've seen a lot of gay sex.
Yeah, because
I mean, really, I haven't. But they did it in a way I didn't expect.
Yeah, they do it like missionary style.
Yeah,
it was. I'm sure the mechanics are there.
I guess.
I just felt like stuff would get in the way.
You think so?
But it didn't.
Nope.
I mean, he is a Jinn, though, so he has...
My immediate thought as I was watching this happen is like, if people got killed over Charlie Hebdo cartoon, these motherfuckers better have a personal security detail at all times.
Dude,
for the rest of their lives.
I actually read an article that came out right after that where there are some, supposedly moderate Muslims who were fucking furious about that shit.
Whatever.
Well, they were furious about that, and there was another scene involving a Muslim woman who died, and... she was brought to the afterlife by Anubis. not some sort of Islamic deity.
Right.
And
well, that was what I thought was neat too. Is like it didn't matter what religion you died, if you I should say whatever religion you held in life, but it was always Anubis that took you to the afterlife.
Yeah.
He weighed your heart on the scales against a feather, and then whatever you believed in the most is basically how you spent your eternity.
Yeah. So, and that was the thing. We'll get to that in a minute, but watching that Jinn pound that dude was...
Fuck.
Hey, here's the thing. Normally, stuff like that, I'd be like, ooh.
Yeah.
But I was actually impressed by the scene because it was pretty much... It took it a step further than the book did, and I didn't expect it.
Yeah. Shows you the... I don't know what you'd call it.
But the genie... I mean, well, he is genie, but they call him Jinn.
Yeah.
We'll stick to Jinn because I like that better. But he tells him, once he figures out he's a Jinn, because his eyes like are aflame.
I do not grant wishes.
He says he doesn't grant wishes. Well, then the next day when the dude wakes up, you don't find out really then, but you find out later he did in fact grant a wish because the dude hated his life.
Got a new one.
And the Jinn gave him a new one.
So here's the thing. Quick question. What if genies, like you were just, when you first moved in here, you're cleaning out the garage and you find like an Aladdin's lamp, and you rubbed it and you're all excited. Fucking Robin Williams comes out of it and he offers you 3 wishes, but he's not going to grant any of them until he fucks your asshole.
Yeah, that's what I feel like would end up happening.
Is that like how it happens?
I think that's rubbing the proverbial genie, I guess.
I guess. He rubbed his lamp.
Yeah.
God.
But, so anyways, back to the main story. Okay, so the coin that Shadow threw on her grave makes Laura come back to life, right?
Mm.
And you find out, she can see, like, from far away, she can see her shadows that he's depicted as some glowing light to her.
It's the only thing she can see. Everything's in black and white. She says she can't feel or touch anything of any substance, but he's the only thing that gives her warmth.
And she is rotting.
Yeah.
She's
as a corpse will do.
Yeah, as a corpse will do, she's rotting. Like, she shits out fucking formaldehyde and pukes it up, and it's pretty graphic in all reality.
It's pretty nice of her friend, though.
Yeah.
She goes over and, like, she's in her house and freaks out because, dead Laura, who died with my husband's cock in her mouth, is, throwing up and shitting formaldehyde in my toilet. Yeah. And, even though all those things happened, she still let her borrow her car.
Yeah, exactly. That was
She didn't have to use an Uber. It was nice.
Yeah. So, Laura goes to find Shadow, and you find out, like, in her episode, like, when she died in the car wreck, that Anubis took her to the afterlife. And here's the thing. In life, Laura didn't believe in anything. And she's in the afterlife, and he goes to weigh her heart. Doesn't she refuse?
Yeah.
And then he offers her, in an earlier scene, when she was still alive, you see her attempting to kill herself in a hot tub with a can of bug spray.
It was a lame-ass fucking suicide attempt.
Yeah. And she refuses the heart and the feather, so he directs her towards the hot tub with the bug spray.
Yeah, you will stay here for the rest of eternity.
And she's like, well, what happens after this? Do I get to go somewhere or something? And he's like, you will do what you believed in life. And he's like, you believed in nothing, so you will go to nothing. And then she's like,
fuck that.
She's like, is it peaceful there? And Nubis is the shit, because he's like, there's darkness.
Yeah. Hardcore.
But then the coin brings her back, so she avoids that fate.
The eternal hot tub.
But it's not to say Anubis isn't hip. He knows what's up.
Right.
And he finds her, like, back on Earth again and tells her, because he helps repair her body. And he's like, listen, you do what you got to do, because something wanted you to come back.
When this fucking over with, I'm putting you in that hot tub.
Yeah, but when it's over with, you're going to meet your fate. But, so she comes back alive. She tries to talk to Shadow, but Shadow gets captured by the new god.
They did a good job with the technical boy.
Oh, yeah. He's such a fucking turd.
I don't know why, but that, like, just to, of course, Tarantino, back to the intro of the show. Like how they do the beginning of every episode.
Like
the trailer or whatever.
Intro?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
That was a really good fucking intro.
Is it? I've been telling everybody that. I told most of the times when I start watching a show, I'll watch the intro like maybe once or twice, but then I'm going to fast forward through the intro every other show. It doesn't matter. Even Game of Thrones, I fast forward through the intro before.
Right.
Like usually like the first episode of the season, I'll watch the intro because it gets me all fucking geared up. Or like the last episode of the season. But most of the time I'm just fast forwarding through it. But this show, I've watched it every single time. And I love that fucking intro. If there is anything I can convey to anybody out there, watch the show if you want, but watch that goddamn intro, because I think that intro embodies exactly what the show is about.
I'm going to put the American Gods intro on the Facebook page.
Good
Everybody
idea.
can check it out.
Good idea.
But it's fucking cool. But like, you go through this whole thing where there's like a menorah that you're looking at from different sides, and then you look at the top, and it's like different type of plugins for different devices.
Yeah. Or like,
the Jesus thing was fucked up too, the cross where they had an astronaut on it.
yeah. And then you see like, there's like a statue of the Virgin Mary, and then like it turns into like some sort of cloth of microchips.
Yeah.
And then it burns in the sun, like, and then fucking laughing Buddha with fucking pills and needles and shit all around him.
Oh, yeah.
This shit's fucking crazy, man.
Right.
I love that. Yeah, we're gonna post that intro on our Facebook. Just watch that shit. It's fucking mind blowing.
Try to. We're finding all this silly shit on here that's not the actual intro.
But yeah. So, anyways, back to the show. So, actually, we forgot a big scene before Laura was even introduced, and that was Shadow getting captured by the technical god. So Shadow gets captured by this technical god. He's like this little shitty fucking kid. Oh, I hate him in the book too.
Yeah, they made a really good character choice. So
Yeah.
That guy's a fucking
He's
douchebag.
a fucking douche, man. He looks like every douchebag you've ever met in your fucking life.
I like how when Shadow's just walking and he looks down and sees that mask or whatever it is on the ground. And he's
What
like,
the fuck is this?
Fucking grabs his face.
But basically, Technical Boy offers him a job to work for them instead of Mr. Wednesday. And at this point, Shadow has no fucking clue what's going on. He doesn't know all this shit yet, and he really doesn't figure it out till the end of the show. A lot of it, he's just kind of like, I don't think this is real.
Yeah.
Like, but he basically offers him a job. He said, if you don't, we're going to fuck you up.
Mm-hmm.
So Shadow refuses, and then he sends him back in the real world, and he sends his goons to fucking lynch Shadow. And then some unknown force, which you find out later is Laura, fucking kills all the minions and saves Shadow's life. Well, he goes back to Wednesday and tells them they leave, and they head to Chicago, where they meet Josenborg,
Yeah.
the Slavic god of death.
That was a good choice, too.
Oh, that dude, and here's the thing. There were certain choices in the show where I was always like, this is who I want to play this is who I want to play this. That dude is the dude I wanted to play Josenborg. There's never been another person that I was like, he should play him.
Yeah, I forget his name, but he's
that dude
fucking hardcore.
Is a fucking boss, and the name escapes me myself right now. I'm probably gonna look up the cast so I can actually say the actors' names instead of just like referring them as their.
Do you know that the one guy?
The only one I remember is Ian McShane, just
Yeah.
because I've seen him in a lot of stuff. But they go see Chersenborg, and Chersenborg is a Slavic god of death, and he lives with 3 Slavic goddesses who protect us from Ursa. I think they protect us from Ursa Major, like the bear star.
Yeah.
And like, because if they don't protect us and keep watch over him, like the chains that are supposedly bound around him will break, and he will swallow the existence. So these 3 sisters watch over us for all eternity. Well, as long as people believe in them. And there's like, what is it? It's the daughter of the dawn, the daughter of the evening, and then the daughter of the midnight.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And they all keep watch on the Ursa Major. But yeah, so but he's basically, what's happening is Mr. Wednesday is going around and he is employing these old gods to work with him because they want to bring a war to the new gods to take them out because they're afraid of becoming irrelevant, more or less. And Chersenborg, they play a game of checkers. Shadow loses, but then Shadow plays another one and wins, and he agrees, along with the sisters. But so they head out and they keep traveling around to different places to meet with other gods, and they meet with Vulcan, and find out Vulcan has like some town in like Appalachia that he has turned into his own like personal fucking worship sanctuary.
Yeah.
Where like here's the thing, he runs a factory where they make bullets, because if anybody knows out there, Vulcan is the god of thunder. Vulcan is the god of the forge from Roman mythology. So he's the god of firepower. He's the god of fire and power. So he makes ammunition.
He's been commercialized.
Yeah, he's been commercialized by the New Gods, actually. They kind of hoed him out. They did the same thing with Biliquis. Like, she was dying, and they even show Isis destroying her shrines. Mm-hmm. And they came to her and said, hey, if you work with us, we can help you out. They're like, see this? This is an app we could create called Sheba. And basically, people will, it gives you energy. And that's what happened. Same thing with Vulcan. Anytime someone uses his ammunition and kills somebody, it brings him power. Because it's like a blood sacrifice. So Wednesday goes to him to try to get Vulcan to make him a sword. Vulcan's like, whatever. I'll make you one. And then find out that Vulcan's working with the New Gods, and Mr. Wednesday pulls a fast one on him, cuts that cocksucker's head off.
Got him.
Pisses on his fucking body.
That was
curses
good.
his ass.
Fuck your forge.
Yeah. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
But trying to blow through this because we're getting towards the end of the episode here. But so then the last stop they make is to the goddess of the spring, Ostera. This is the last episode of the season.
Ishtar.
Yeah, Ishtar, Ostera, whatever you want to call her.
Right.
She's the goddess of the spring. But unfortunately, as anybody knowing now knows, she doesn't really get worshipped. It's not her that's getting worshipped, especially because her day is Easter. And she's not getting worshipped.
It was pretty funny that they had at her Easter party, they had all these treats and stuff, like symbols of her, what used to give her power, and now it's all been commercialized into treats and fucking rabbits that shit jelly beans and all that. Yeah. And then you go out in the backyard and it's just a fucking mosh pit of Jesuses.
Oh, there's Jesuses of every type. You've got multiple white Jesuses. You've got conservative Jesuses. You've got liberal Jesuses. You've got brown Jesuses, black ones, Asian ones. You've got Jesuses from every background, because here's the thing, people. Every time a group of people manifest a Jesus in their head and how he looks, it manifests into that type of Jesus. So there is many Jesuses.
That one, the one in the pool, kind of it was funny, but it's one of those things that I laughed at and it made me uncomfortable.
Oh, where he's
just due to my religious upbringing. But he's sitting in the lotus position on the pool, sitting on top of the water. Yeah. And he's taking a wine glass and dipping it wine glass and dipping it into the pool water, pulling it up, changing it into wine, and drinking it. And then he drops it into the water, and he's like, "God damn it!"
But so, anyways, they're all, and Wednesday is going to her to employ her to work with them as well. And she's kind of hesitant. She's not feeling it.
Wasn't she already hip to the fact that she'd been commercialized, but then Wednesday had to bring her around to show her
Wednesday, that's the thing though. She wasn't really actively commissioned for the shit. They basically they did it for her as a favor, but not she wasn't brought into a deal.
Kind of by accident.
Yeah, I wouldn't say accident, but it was kind of a deal struck she didn't know about. Mm. But the thing is when Wednesday showed up, they decided to show up too and call in on that deal and be like, listen, you only have power because we let you have power.
Yeah, you only have it because the media commercialized the chocolate rabbit. And
if you want, we can change that, and then you'd be hit in the mouth.
I like Wednesday's solution better, though. Yeah. Take the spring.
Yeah. So Wednesday convinces her, and then the god of media shows up first, and she brings goons, and then the technical god comes. And then finally, the big daddy, Mr. World, shows up. Now, we didn't really talk about Mr. World before, but Mr. World I think he's the embodiment of the intercommunication in the world, is he not? Yeah. The actual, physical embodiment of economy and infrastructure and spying.
Records of everything.
Yeah.
So I was curious about Mr. World because I felt like in the book, he was just the world in itself, as an organism.
Oh,
but in the show, it's more like a record. He's like the record of all of the things that have happened on Earth.
Yeah. Well, if you remember, I'm not going to give it away, but there's a secret about Mr. World.
I don't remember, so don't
I'll tell you off air. Yeah. And you're going to be like, oh, I can't believe I forgot that. Yeah. Okay, so anyways, so they show up and they're basically squaring off. And fucking Shadow's there, Mr. Wednesday's there, and Ostera's there. And they're all standing there. And fucking, they're threatening Wednesday, and Wednesday's like, I dedicate these deaths to Ostera.
What deaths?
They're like, what deaths? And a fucking lightning bolt shoots out of the fucking sky and kills all their fucking goons. Yeah. And then Wednesday's like, not Wednesday, Shadow's like, who the fuck are you? And this is the greatest scene, I think, in the entire series so far. And that's when fucking Wednesday starts revealing all of his names. And, like, you know, he's got a lot of them. He's Grimir, Gladifor, the Traveler, the Allfather.
The One Eye.
The One Eye. And he's like, as he's saying these names, shit starts fucking swirling around him. And then finally he reveals the main name. The name everybody usually knows him as. And that's Odin. Yeah. And he fucking turns for a slight minute into his actual physical embodiment of Odin himself. The old one-eyed traveler.
Yes.
But, and then he tells fucking Ostera to do her thing. And she takes away the spring.
You just see this, ever-expanding view of her, like, glowing in beauty and flower petals and all this shit. And then all of a sudden it kind of pans out. And everything around her is green, and then she sucks away the life of...
Everything dies.
Yeah, it goes back from, like, the lawn dies, all the trees die, and then, like, just the fields. She takes away spring. And they go back to her, and Odin is looking, or Mr. Wednesday is looking at the media, and he's like, you tell them, if they want the spring back, pray to a star.
Yeah.
Isn't that how it goes? And then it kind of... Then Shadow comes to belief.
Yeah, Shadow was like, I believe.
He's like, what do you believe? He says, I believe everything. And then he laughs.
Yeah.
And that's how they end the first season.
I know. Wasn't that boss, though?
Fuck yeah, man.
I mean, like...
Very few times have I ever seen a show that, like, even came close to the book. Even though American Gods, the show, changed some things.
I'm okay with it.
I am totally cool.
Because the main message of the story has remained on point. And, like, even when they did things, like, it kind of politicized a few things about the series. Like, there was a scene with the brown Jesus.
That shit was funny, man.
But, I mean, like, here's the thing. At the end of the day, how am I supposed to defend that? Because that shit does happen. Like,
fucking yeah.
Yeah. So what am I going to say? That shit legit happens.
Yeah.
Or, like, you know, I don't think the scene was meant for me, but everything he said was true. And that's the scene where Mr. Nancy is on the slave ship.
Man.
That was some shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so, like, every episode usually started with the tale of how because the thing is, there's not just there's not just a gods. There's gods for every place. So somebody brought these gods to America, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you have an American version of Odin. You have a Norwegian version of Odin. Anyways, you see these slaves crossing the ocean, these African American slaves crossing the ocean. And they're in the shitty ship, and it's fucking storming out and everything. And the one starts praying to Anansi, the spider god. Mm-hmm. And Anansi shows up. He first is a form of a spider, and then turns into a well-dressed black man. And he basically, this speech that he gives is fucking phenomenal. He just basically tells them, like, listen, he's like, isn't it, what's his line? Violence gets shit done. Yeah. He's like, listen, he's like, these Dutch motherfuckers are going to take you to America, and you're going to be treated like shit, and you're going to be your children, and your children's children, and your children's children's
Runs
children.
Through the whole fucking 300 years of slavery.
Exactly. He gives a rundown of all 300 years of slavery, all the shit they're going to go through. He's like, the only thing you have to look forward to is that all that tobacco that you're going to pick is going to give those white motherfuckers cancer.
Yeah.
And, like, he tells them, like, basically, you need to burn this fucking ship. This is one of those powerful lines in the episode. He's like, you need to just burn this ship down. And the one dude's like, but Anansi, we will die. And he's like, you're already dead, motherfucker.
Please die with a purpose.
Yeah. And that was, I mean...
The ship gets caught on fire. You see, he unlocks the one guy.
Yeah, he unlocks one of them.
He was praying to him, and he unlocks his chains. And then he gets up and unlocks all the other ones. They burn down the ship, and then after it's all said and done, you see, like, the ship on fire, and then eventually it's just driftwood.
Yeah.
And when the driftwood touches the shore, you see Anansi in spider form walk onto the shore.
Yeah.
Because he made it to the new continent.
Yep. He made it to the new world.
Heavy.
And they show that with a lot of different gods. Like, they showed it with Biliquis. Biliquis was one of the last ones they showed how she got here. Mm. And it was because of the Iranian Cultural Revolution that brought her here.
Yeah.
Because, like they explained in the show, some men came to Biliquis to love her, and some men were afraid of her love,
Right.
and only wanted violence.
They didn't want to live in the vaginal nebula.
Yeah, which
Whatever.
didn't look too bad in there.
I mean, if you don't got anything else going on, why not?
Yeah, I mean, well, whatever. But yeah, so, and, like, they even show Odin. Odin was the first one, I think. That they show these Vikings landing on the New World and fucking get off the boat, and one of them tries to step out into the grass and gets shot with, like, a fucking 100 arrows.
Yeah, got
So,
it.
like, well, we can't go any further, so we have to stay here. So they didn't have a wind, so they started praying to Odin. And they're like, well, Odin's not answering because there's no wind. So then they start fucking, one guy goes around with a fucking hot blade and starts stabbing everybody's fucking right eye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they start stabbing everybody's right eye out, like Odin. That doesn't work.
Nope.
So then they're like, okay, well, he's a god of war. So they start fucking battling each other on the goddamn beach, slaughtering the shit out of each other, and finally, they get the win they needed, and they leave. But they left the totem of Odin that they built on America's land.
Right. It's definitely all we got for this week.
Yeah.
But I think everybody should check out that fucking intro. I found it on Vimeo or some other site that wasn't YouTube, because YouTube sucks a fucking flaccid dick.
Big old penis.
But definitely check that out.
Yeah.
And the show will hopefully be up tonight.
Yeah. So we'd like to thank you guys for listening. I know this was a different show, but I feel like we just had to give it its due diligence. We didn't tell you everything about the show. There are still some secrets that I think we kind of withheld on, so that even if you went back and watched it, you would enjoy it still.
Hopefully, if they check the show out, it'll then drive them to get the book.
Yeah.
And then by the time they finish the book, they're gnashing their teeth until blood comes out of their mouth for the next season.
But so thank you guys for listening. Check out our website, www.bonesandtubs.com. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Instagram.
Yes. Is St. Even back in the fold?
Oh, St. Even's back, and he should have one up. Probably, he told me it wouldn't be today, but it would probably be tomorrow or Friday that he'd have another episode up.
That's good.
But he's also said that he was going to send me some more, like, pictures of different characters from El Al in, like, old movie scenarios.
Yeah. We should get on our Patreon page and make that a reward. Like a certain monetary donation gets you a St. Even original.
That sounds good.
Come on.
But thank you guys for listening. Any topics, send them to us. Might do them on the show. You never know. Meteor topics tend to get more time. So, some serious shit.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for listening. Listen to us next week. We'll be here. Like to thank Ryan Simpson for listening to... like to thank Ryan Simpson for letting us use his music. I fuck that up at least once every 3 episodes.
It's fine. Practice makes perfect.
Yeah, right? So, thank you guys for listening, and we hope to see you guys next time, and we hope you have a good week.
We love you.
We really do.